This is my presentation on animal behavior. So across species, mating behaviors, whether they're violent, strategic, cooperative, they're all driven by a survival and reproductive motive. This shows that males and females both use tactics to secure males and ensure that they have offspring. This focuses on how mating behaviors evolve in animals, how both sexes compete, and why reproduction shapes nearly every decision organisms make. For example, talking to Tatiana starts with Twiggy writing to her, saying that Twiggy's mate copulated for 10 weeks and showed no signs of stress. And then Tatiana explains that this is a jealousy tactic, and this males prevents other males from mating with her. And this also can show how possessive males can be. In this extreme mating lengths that prevent competition, it mentions also how stress in females show power, imbalance, and reproductive strategies. And then it moves on to how males in many species guard, follow, or intimidate rivals. So for example, the blue-snouted lizard rides the female's back as a form of a dominance display. This also connects how humans also have jealousy behaviors, and territorial instincts are biologically ancient. This moves on to Bateman's experiment and how he concludes that males are eager and females are selective. Bateman concluded that the males compete because they produce more sperm and females invest more in the eggs. Later research found flaws in this and that females mated more than had been reported. Promiscuity has also proved to increase genetic diversity. This explains why Bateman's idea influenced decades of thinking, even though the study had major flaws. This moves on to her point on female promiscuity and how some females mate more than necessary to avoid infertility. Promiscuity increases offspring diversity. And to point out that females are not always passive, they may always be actively seeking multiple partners. And then it moves on to the males and how insects often evolve odd penis shapes used to remove sperm or block other males. Some males even explode and leave their genitals in the female. This shows how sexual selection can drive to extreme changes. And then this moves to the type 1 of how females need heavy stimulation to conceive, and type 2 that males attempt to ensure that all offspring are theirs. This connects to the reproductive investment and how males focus on paternity certainty and females focus more on successful fertilization. Then this moves on to the fig wasp that writes to Dr. Tatiana. This fig wasp shows extreme sexual nature. Pollinator wasps, who also believe mates who copulate each early succeed more. Competition is fierce and often deadly. This shows how the fig wasp reproduction happens in tight spaces and can increase aggression. This also comes to the part where males can be somehow disguised as females. These are called sneaks, and it's a strategy developing under poor conditions, and animals can even team up and chase off rivals. This explains that sex strategies shift depending on the environment and the opportunity. And then this leads to the praying mantises and how they have a different form. They both kneel during sexual interaction, and although females show a submissive look, they then attack and prey on that male. This shows the famous behaviors of females consuming males for nutrients, or like cannibalism. And then it comes to the rams and how they're pursued until exhaustion. Many species there share the same tragedies, and this discusses how reproductive pressure creates dangerous environments for females. For females fights, it can lead to death, but it doesn't happen very often. For example, the tiny black Australian insects kill each other for their ideal home. This is a challenge stereotype that only males fight for mates, but this challenges that. And then it leads to males disabling other sperm chemically. Females may release chemicals to repel unwanted mates, and reproduction is central for every species. This explains that sperm competition in a clear way is also an internal chemical battle. And then this leads to the true monogamy and parenting aspect, and how true monogamy only evolves when it's helpful to both partners. Some animals, such as hamsters, show active male parenting, and this shows that monogamy is rare unless the environment demands it. This leads to also the hermaphrodites and how some mites mate inside the mother's body. Inbreeding risk increases harmful recessive genes, and hermaphrodites self-fertilize under pressure, and this shows how self-fertilizing species have to balance the risk and the survival. And this leads to also the part of mold reproduction. And mold releases spores as sex cells and more than 500 gene variants. Mold's reproductive varieties show how flexible evolution can actually be. And then there's also the asexual survival. They reproduce by cloning, absolutely no sex, and picking up environmental DNA. There's a theory such as the Red Queen theory, where they must change constantly to survive, and the sex shuffle genes that are essential for most species. This is why sex remains the dominant and it protects species from extinction. In conclusion, sexual behavior is shaped by survival, competition, and reproduction. Both sexes evolve strategies from jealousy to violence to cooperation. Despite differences, all these species share the same core goal, passing on their genes. And evolution rewards effective mating strategies for all species.